Hey Buns, so with Endwalker just a few short days away, in case you don't know what to do to prepare, if there is still time by the time you're watching this video, my previous video was about that, but I just want to kind of share my thoughts right now on what's on my mind, just a little bit before the expansion actually gets here. What are my last closing thoughts almost about Shadowbringers? What am I hoping to see from Endwalker? I mean, this being the one that's wrapping up a decade-long story and being so far, like, from all the trailers and the marketing and stuff, it seems to be like a super ominous vibe from this expansion. They just re-released the 1.0 trailer on their YouTube channel, and everybody's been scratching their heads about why they would do that. What is in this trailer that's irrelevant to Endwalker coming this week? But if you pay attention, you see that the card that the Warrior of Light is holding is actually a guy with a scythe, and there's ominous dark clouds overhead. Oh, I'm like, wow, they're really playing the long game here, because that trailer came out 11 years ago. Like, do you realize how long ago 11 years was? It was like, tick-tock on the clock and the party won't stop. That was 11 years ago. And yeah, that's how long ago they decided that we would be having Reaper come out now, I guess. Maybe it was a botanist. No, I choose to believe that this is all planned. Everything has been planned. Okay, it's a Reaper, and it's involved with Endwalker. I can't wait to see how it all fits together. I'm actually starting to look a little insane. While we have gotten a very limited taste testing of what Endwalker will involve from the media tour, it was very, very limited. We, of course, were not allowed to see any story, and we don't have a PTR in this game to show us everything that's going to be in the new expansion. Thank the 12 for that. So the most that we can do right now is just predict, imagine, hope, hear, feel, think. Live, laugh, love. But what we can do is look back on previous expansions, look back on Shadowbringers, and figure out trends. Ask ourselves, what's likely based on what we have seen? What would I like them to do differently in Endwalker? What would I like to say more or less the same? And so that's generally what I want to talk about here today. The first thing on my mind is, of course, rating. I'm looking ahead to what the rating will be like in Endwalker, and in general, the raid content in Final Fantasy XIV is really strong, is really solid. I can say that for Shadowbringers, that was the first expansion where I cleared every single Savage fight. It was the first time I cleared an Ultimate fight, so I mean, I would say I was more serious about raiding in Shadowbringers than I had been since I was hardcore WoW player. Playing Wrath of the Lich King. So this expansion, I think in many ways brought back my passion for raiding, and in terms of encounter design, it set a really high bar. Like, I'm just thinking back to the epic final fights of every raid tier that we had, like Titan, Savage, where you get to the very end of the fight and then the music changes. And suddenly you're like reinvigorated after this long fight. Oh man, I hope that we get more moments like that, but I'm not even worried about it. Like, I know we will. They have told us that the 8-man raids that we're going to get in Endwalker are going to be involved somehow with whatever this new story is that will carry us far into the future now that this previous story is coming to a close. As for the Alliance raids in Endwalker, I can't tell you how relieved I am that they're going to be original Final Fantasy XIV content. Okay. Not some crossover event, not some thinly veiled marketing. Okay, that might be a little, harsh. That might be a little harsh. This is probably no secret that I did not enjoy the Jorge raid story at all. The raids themselves, I thought, were quite good. I had a lot of fun, like, in the actual fights, but the story really was bad. That's my opinion. You might not agree, but I did not like the story at all for Jorge, and I think it's because there was hardly any story at all, and the story that we got was really disjointed. It felt very shallow. It felt completely out of context. It didn't like link in to the Final Fantasy XIV world at all, and a good crossover should bridge that gap in some compelling way, or it could at least make that gap compelling by maybe asking some questions like, oh, well, we don't know how we got here, and does anybody know how we got here? You know? Like, you could be philosophical about it if you don't want to explain that. I don't know, but Jorge failed to do either one of those things. Either make the crossover interesting, why it's here, why it's happened, what's the impact it'll have on our world, or make the lack of that bridge interesting. And it was just a lot of nothing, and it felt really pointless. this, a lot of times people will try to defend the Jorge raids saying that, oh, well, you just don't understand the Nier style of story. I do. Yes, I did play Nier Automata. Yes, I absolutely loved that game. I loved how philosophical it was and how it makes you think about like what you're doing and are you really a hero? Like, should you really be killing and all this stuff. It was incredible. I loved all that, but we didn't get anywhere close to any of that territory in this Jorge raid story, unfortunately. So I'm very happy that we are not doing another crossover for now, not another major content crossover. We do know that in Endwalker, the Alliance raid is going to be the original Final Fantasy 14 story about the 12 gods. And generally in an expansion, we get 3 different Alliance raids. Each raid has 4 bosses, so that's 4, 8, that is 12. And there are 12 of the 12, so I wonder, will every boss be a different god? Maybe not, but it's worth thinking about. You do know about the 12, right? Because I feel like there's 2 kinds of FF14 players. There's the ones who know about the 12, and there's the ones who worship Polone, because they were all born first son of the first astral moon. Oh, before I get off the topic of the Alliance raids, I really hope that we get some voice acting in the Alliance raids again, because I mean, the Ivalice raid's voice acting for different bosses was legendary. Like, it gave these bosses so much character, and not having that in the Nier raids, I think, was not as cool. It was not as cool as like Thunder God. Like, everybody remembers the Thunder God. Looking forward to the trial fights that we can expect in Endwalker. We know that we're going to be fighting Anima, and we saw a little bit of footage of that from the Endwalker launch trailer, and it looks pretty great. I know that it is a callback to Final Fantasy X's Anima boss, but I do know that probably all of the people coming over from WoW will find this fight pretty cathartic. I've also heard that after you kill the Anima, you need to collect it and take it to your sanctuary. I'm looking forward to the dungeons in Endwalker, of course. I did get to play the Tower of Zot at the Media Tour. That's the new dungeon from Endwalker, and I really enjoyed it. Basically, like, if you like Shadowbringers dungeons, you will like the Endwalker dungeons, because it felt like the same formula, the same tried and true formula of like a linear raid with the 3 bosses, though the music was awesome. Like, there's a new boss music, which is super good. I'd like to see more variety in the expert roulette, or barring that, some harder mode content for a small group of people. 4 people, harder content, because expert roulette just doesn't feel very challenging, and sometimes you want to do something like a little more harder. In light of the new PvP mode that's being added to the game, I sure would like to see better communication with the PvP community, better moderation of the PvP in general. And actually, it would be awesome if the PvP is good enough that it will draw in all kinds of different players, like myself. Like, I loved the feast in Shadowbringers, but there was literally only 1 map. It's laughable that there was legit 1 map, and there was all kinds of other griefing problems that they have actually addressed. They said they're committed to solve, but I would like to see the action. I'd like to see them follow through on that. In the previous live letter, they did describe a brand new reward system for PvP that sounds like a massive step in the right direction, and so I guess I'm more hopeful than worried about PvP for now. As for the beast tribes of Endwalker, well, one of them is moon bunnies. And so I'm obviously really excited about Loporit. My hype for the moon bunnies obviously like sort of eclipses that of the Matanga, even though the Matanga are great. But I'm wondering, will the Matanga be a battle beast tribe, or will they be for crafting? Because on the Endwalker site, it says their bulky frames belie their deftness of hand. Their thirst for knowledge has led many to pursue mastery of the alchemic arts. That sounds like crafting, deftness of hand. Are you referring to alchemy? Of course, in Shadowbringers, we had a beast tribe for battle, one for crafting, and another one for gathering. I wonder if people preferred that over the Stormblood model of there being like 2 battle beast tribes, Ananta and Kojin, and then there was Namazu, which covered crafters and gatherers. So which one would y'all prefer? Maybe you can tell me in the comments, because I feel like I'm a battle-focused player, so I'm going to be really biased on that. Like, obviously, I want more battle beast tribes and just have one beast tribe for crafting and gathering. But maybe that's really selfish of me. So maybe I'm going to get really involved in gathering in Endwalker, actually, because I'll have my scythe out all the time. Oh, and also because of the cool new spearfishing game, or like it's a little mini game. And of course, another big thing on my mind right now is the community and just how massive our Bun fam has grown. Like, I'm overjoyed with this, but also I'm like, will I be able to play the game? Like, well, how long will I be sitting in the login queue, pretty much? Because I actually just posted a lodestone post today regarding congestion during Endwalker's launch, and it's like, since the launch of a new expansion is when a large number of players will be playing for extended periods of time, we're expecting far more simultaneous logins compared to usual. Following a dramatic increase in the player base in all regions since the summer, we're currently experiencing record numbers of active users and are expecting a number of logins that has yet to be seen since the launch of Final Fantasy 14. We did optimize our servers ahead of the expansion's launch. I think that was one of the reasons for the delay, actually. Basically, they were not able to add new worlds. They're worried about like all the worlds being full. There's a high likelihood of congestion that will result in worlds reaching maximum login capacity, lengthy wait times to log in. I'm not going to read this whole thing. You can just look at the link in the description and read it yourself. But basically, like, there's a ton of people playing Final Fantasy 14 right now, and that is awesome. But you know, we might all be playing in the login queue for a bit. Hey, maybe people can just watch my videos while they're in the queue. But obviously, that's not the only thing on my mind with the community. I think this game has always had a really solid community. And I really do feel that right now, the community is the best that it's ever been. And I think that in the past, the weakness that we had in this community was it was nice, it was pleasant, but it was kind of a bubble. It was really insulated. And now having so many different people pouring in, so many different viewpoints and perspectives and attitudes, I think it's been so healthy for the game. And I think it's encouraged people to be more welcoming, more accepting, less rigid, more flexible, less expecting of others to behave and act always in a certain way. And that is only good. I've been really encouraging people to be more welcoming, and I have seen people do that, and I've seen so many new players express loudly about, you know, how welcome they feel, and that's fantastic. For a lot of them, it's their first expansion in Final Fantasy 14, and it's just like extra exciting for me. It's like, have you ever like gotten one of your friends to watch a show that you're really into and you really hoped that they would be into it, and then they are really into it, and then you can both be really hyped about the new season together? Like, that's kind of how I feel right now. And so I can't wait to see all the different reactions from so many different people from the story, like seeing all their story reactions and stuff on YouTube. It's really exciting times ahead. How many times I've said exciting in this video, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm excited. Okay, I don't know many words. I really hope that Endwalker does more to solve the current inventory and glamour system problem besides just add a few more glamour dresser spots, because this system that we have for the collections of glamour and collections and like just inventory in general for Final Fantasy 14 is probably the worst in any MMO, like modern MMO. Like, it's embarrassingly bad. And getting new glamour spots, I feel like this is the bare minimum that we need. The whole system needs an overhaul. And they said that, you know, they're looking right now, they're currently planning the next 10 years of Final Fantasy 14. If they're really serious about that, they need to overhaul the inventory and glamour system, because this is old already. Like, it's already embarrassing. And just imagine in a couple of years, like every expansion giving more and more items and every patch giving more items and things. Like, something needs to change. They need to find some kind of a creative solution, because I'm pretty organized. I do a pretty decent job of keeping my retainers clean, keeping only the basics, like only the most important glams, and my glamour dresser is completely full. And I've had to make some difficult choices about like what glamours to delete to make space for the new glams in Endwalker. As for the new jobs, Reaper and Sage, as you probably know by now because I talk about it constantly, I do plan on leveling Reaper right away, and I hope that I'm good at it. I'm worried that I might suck at melee. I'm worried that I might just be so bad that I need to quit and go back to Dancer, and that's a possibility that I'm leaving open. But I had such a good time playing it at the media tour that I cannot wait to get my hands on it again. And you know, maybe people will cut me a little slack because it's a new job. I wonder, like, how long can I be bad at Reaper before people are like, you've been playing that for a while, like, you should be better by now, you know? But maybe that won't happen. Like, maybe I won't actually learn. Imagine that. Sage, I like aesthetically, but I'm not that interested in really. Like, it's kind of too big brain for me. Summoner is awesome. Summoner is the other, like, big... Like, basically, if I'm horrible at Reaper... I'll consider maybe I'll main Summoner instead. Dancer's always a back burner option. In general, my hype for the expansion is really high. I'm trying not to let the hype get out of control, but I've never been really good at keeping the hype under control. Okay, I'm a very excitable person in general, and I'm really looking forward to going on this journey with all of you and documenting, you know, thoughts and reactions the whole way. Oh, hey, after Endwalker comes out, am I going to be a content creator? Let me know what your thoughts and feelings are right now in the moments, days, hours before the expansion comes out. What are you thinking about? Let me know in the comments section down below. And if you like this video, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free just by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow warriors of light. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.